Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Why don't you text the show on 8 12 15? You can 8 12 15. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Websites.
Can I just say, Frank?
Morning, Richie. Morning, Peter.
Morning, Frank.
Morning.
On our Twitter feed, you are already getting follow forwards as part of to the Doctor Who S8 team.
I don't know what
Season 8.
Series 8. Yeah,
Series
but
8.
what's a follow forward? I don't know what that is.
I haven't got the time.
Okay.
I don't
I
understand
haven't.
what that is.
Follow
I'm
forward.
just saying.
Those are the Wayne Rooney.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I can't be bothered even with the joke.
I'm just saying it's nice for you.
Done so many football jokes, I can't build another one.
But you're being included with hashtag Peter Capaldi
No, well,
and
that's
Jenna
obviously,
Coleman.
that is brilliant.
Quite nice for you. You haven't done badly for yourself.
Thank you very much. Oh, from simple beginnings. So, can I start by saying we were looking at the morning papers before the show, because we do stuff like that. Don't think that we
Yeah.
just turn up. We turn up, we read the papers and say, "Oh, look at the state of her."
No, there's a lot of that.
That's basically what I say.
But today everything changed because I tell you who looks great
Yeah.
in the papers, and that's Kelly Maloney.
Yeah, which was Frank Maloney.
Well, Frank Maloney has become a lady, and he looks great. I mean, I'm serious. He looks great.
So am I. I genuinely think
He wasn't a great man.
he wasn't
physically.
a great-looking man. He did that thing, and we can sort of work out why now, perhaps. But he went for the flamboyant outfits, Union Jack outfits.
Jack
No
suit.
offence, Frank, but the Union
No.
Jack suits.
Yeah, I'm
just
wearing
saying.
one this morning, in case
Yeah.
you're wondering.
No, but you did famously like that look,
I did. Well, I wore that shirt for the Brits.
and that went well.
Yes, exactly.
And
We try not to give him flashbacks about the Brits usually, especially not in the first link.
no, but I think
My nose is bleeding. My nose is bleeding.
it was the 90s. I think that
Not for me, dear.
Kelly Maloney
Yeah,
was Frank Maloney.
yeah.
I think looks absolutely amazing.
What's interesting?
I'm not being sarcastic. The makeup's good, the hair's good,
No,
the
I'm
clothes
not-
are good.
Because when I heard he'd become a lady, I didn't have high hopes,
No.
because I thought, he was but I think he was right. I think he's done the right thing. But when I saw the picture in the paper, I absolutely thought it was Lorraine Kelly.
Oh, Frank.
What? Well, I'm saying he looked great, so what's the problem with
You
that?
think there's like a homage thing going on?
But the fact that he's chosen the name Kelly, I think he's a sort
Yeah.
of a tribute band
Yeah.
to Lorraine Kelly.
I can see that. Yeah.
He's the new Bjorn again.
Yes.
What he's done, which I respect, he hasn't gone OTT, which
No.
I like. Hasn't gone OTT with the nails. He looks great.
No.
Good
Anyway,
hair.
so that's great news to start the show. Frank Maloney has pulled it off. Well, actually, I don't know if it was pulled. I think it was severed. Nevertheless,
What is wrong with you?
what I didn't. I
What is
meant.
actually wrong
I
with you?
meant. Oh,
It's a verbal slip, that.
it was. It's a. Do you know a verbal slip when you hear one? Yeah, I think he was wearing a verbal slip. I know a thermal slip. Sorry, I misread that. It's very cold up here at the moment.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'm staying in a very nice flat in Edinburgh. I'm staying in
Good for you.
in friends of mine own a flat in Edinburgh, so I'm staying in their flat, which is
Does it
lovely.
have any moth problems?
No, why have I
Because
got?
I'm paying quite a lot of money, not to friends, and my flat has a.
No, this is a
fire.
Givenchy top. It's supposed to have those holes in.
All right. Well, lucky you then. You haven't got.
No, you've got moths.
got moths, yeah. That's it. That's all I've got. Just wondered if
Have
it
got
was
any
an Edinburgh
have
pandemic.
Have they done anything bad?
Well, they fly around when you turn a light on at night. I find that somewhat startling, but they're not, big, terrifying
You need to
moths.
put all your knitwear in the freezer.
Do I?
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Actually, it stinks.
Is this a code? Is this
Kill the bacteria.
Yeah.
No, I had a friend who had a phobia about a moth would fly in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
and he was properly frightened if a moth appeared, even a tiny moth.
Really?
Let alone those ones when their eyes come out on sort of stalks things.
A behemoth.
A behemoth, they're they're the worst. So anyway, I'm staying at there, and occasionally the daughter of my friends.
Oh,
is
yeah.
there. She's
Oh, she's still there, is she?
well, she's there occasionally. She works and stuff. So she's 21. Very nice.
Okay.
And I put Buzz down in the afternoon. Buzz Down in the Afternoon is the new rival to Steve Wright
Yeah.
on Radio 1 Extra. And
It's a bit more sort of garage.
I can imagine a Radio 1 Extra show called Buzz Down in the Afternoon.
I can,
Yeah,
totally.
sounds
Yeah.
good.
So
I'd listen to that. What if that was presented by Kelly Maloney? That would be my favourite show.
it would be with that, what's he called, Rob Badger's Spook or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be with him.
I don't know Rob Badger's Spook.
Scroobius Pip, he means.
Oh,
I
yes.
like Scroobius
Yes,
Pip.
yes. Actually, I'm going to write that down. That's going to be my next Rob Badger's
I love
Spook.
that he said Rob Badger and the Spook, and I knew he meant Scroobius
No,
Pip.
well, no, because I was grasping for it and you saw me reach out.
I did.
You held my hand. It was a trapeze moment,
Yeah.
which one gets on this show so rarely.
Get it
Anyway,
this
Buzz Down
festival.
in the afternoon.
Yeah, so anyway, Buzz started crying.
Oh,
Well,
that's a shame.
now you know what my sense of direction is like. It's legendary, poor. So I ran down to push the door open, and there's the daughter of the house sitting on her bed with a laptop, looking at me, a little surprised. Thank God she was decent.
Was she clothed?
No, she was decent. Thank God for that. And I
You can't
said,
burst in on people like that, though, Frank.
I thought I was heading for Buzz's room, but I've only been there 10 days. I haven't worked out the. And
Wow.
Your Honour.
and the thing is, yeah, well, that was it. Because what about her honour? But I said, sorry, I got lost.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that
I got lost.
That didn't. Unless you know about my sense of direction, that's not going to sound very convincing.
That sounds the sort of excuse Robin Asquith would have come up with.
In,
Confessions of a Lodger.
Yeah,
a
you're
comedian
probably
lodger.
right. Yeah. But he'd have been naked, obviously. Did I mention I was naked?
Were you?
No. No, but oh god, it was because I just know if you knew me, you'd
Oh, your
know
lack
that's
of-
completely.
Yeah,
I get lost in buildings and that.
Well,
all the
we're
time.
all very easily believing that you could
Yeah.
do that, but I don't know if the listenership, the readership...
And it's no good
will
telling
know.
people after you've done it,
No.
because that sounds like
That's just that poor woman. Everything to live for. Googling exciting bands and your little Birmingham face creeping up on her.
I know it must have been
Creeping up makes it sound worse than barging in.
It must have been. It must be like that moment in the fairy tale when Rumpelstiltskin first turns up. That's what I would imagine it was like. A wizened old face suddenly comes round the door, entering the world of youth. No, wrong.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
We've had an email I just thought
You
I'd
have?
bring to your attention.
Don't bring me into it.
It's called A Day at the Cricket. Frank, Emily and Alan, I hope you're well. This is aimed mainly towards Frank, as I know Emily and Alan find cricket incredibly dull. Is that
Don't
true of
bring-
you?
don't bring
or is
that
that
up.
just me?
Well, you say that, but Derek Pringle was one of my first crushes.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I think I told you once I used to play press conferences when I was a child. Other people played with dolls, I played press conferences.
I still do that, of course, as the Barcelona manager.
Of course
Yeah.
you do.
But I played a game, Frank, where Derek Pringle and I had announced our engagement. And I'd say, thank you so much for joining us. We don't have much to say at this time, but I will tell you we're very happy. Thank you. Thank you. I thought that's all you'd say. Why would there be a press conference? Because Derek Pringle married. Actually, I was about 12, so maybe there wouldn't be.
Then the son asked something about the big bed, because he's like 6'8".
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
Derek Pringle, and that, everyone went, oh, for goodness sake.
I'd
Yeah.
rehearse getting
I was
up.
at that press conference.
The email continues.
I worked for the Daily Sketch at the time as a reporter.
Frank Skinner, Dandy magazine.
This is aimed mainly towards Frank, as I know Emily and Alan find cricket incredibly dull. But is Frank thinking of going to the T20 finals day at Edgbaston next Saturday? I know that it's a sellout, and I imagine he has enough contacts to wangle a ticket. But would he be interested in coming with me and my mate? We have a spare ticket, and it would be brilliant if he could join us. Don't worry about the show. I'll write you a note to get you out of it. I think the Albion are away that weekend, so you have no excuses. Cheers,
Well, I have some
Ian.
excuses, as I have a radio show and a stand-up show in Edinburgh.
He'll write you a note.
I know, but what will be the nature of the note? He'll have to write
Frank,
me 500 notes for my audience.
Yeah.
That's 500. Any other
notes.
comics in Edinburgh who are listening? 500.
Big man. Big man.
They're all over 60. I mean, look at, there's ups and downs in everything. I can't. I'd love to go to the T20 final.
What, with Ian, or would you...
I'd go with Ian. He sounds all right.
You go with any. He sounds all right.
Because he's pitched it quite nicely.
He's offering me
I
a
think.
free ticket.
Oh, yeah.
That means he sounds all right.
Yeah.
No, that would have been great. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time,
As
Ian.
Boz would say, maybe later. Maybe later.
What about Simon Art Dealer? Hi, Frank, Emily and Alan. Rebursting in on people.
Oh, yeah.
The first time I stayed the night at my girlfriend's flat, I accidentally opened the door to her bedroom, thinking it was the living room, to find her preparing herself while singing Beyonce's If You Want It, Then You've Got to Put a Ring on It. We are now separated.
Why does he not like Beyonce?
That would be
Sounds
embarrassing,
like
wouldn't
a
it?
ring
If a
on.
man walked in and caught you doing that. Oh.
Well, what, putting a ring on it?
No.
Singing it to yourself.
Singing it to
Yeah.
yourself.
I think, I suppose it is a bit threatening. I hadn't really felt that aspect of it, but of course, yeah. I'm getting married in the morning, of course. I would have been singing. Generational thing. But, yeah, we've all got that. I hadn't thought of that. It's funny. I'm still working the show out, just slightly chasing the game at the moment. Don't worry, I'm catching up.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, I don't know if you found this, Al, but when you're up here doing a show in Edinburgh, do you ever think about next year's show and what that might be?
Yes. Yeah, that
Oh,
happens.
do you?
Isn't it odd? Because you spend half your time thinking, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
And the other half thinking, maybe next year I could do a... And I'll tell you what I've noticed this year, in fact, most year, there's lots of shows. There's always shows about people, real people. There's always, like, the Edith Piaf story and stuff like that. And there's...
Russell Grant story.
well, that's him, though, I think.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm on about... Like there's a Morecambe and Wise thing, and there's a Stan Laurel
There's a Stan
thing.
Laurel. Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
people do... So there's shows about comedians. And I thought to myself, why do they have to be comedians from the past?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So I thought, wouldn't it be great to do a show about a contemporary comedian in which I play that comedian, not get their permission or anything?
Well, who are you thinking?
I'm thinking the Al Murray story. I'm thinking I could call it Al by Myself. I was thinking,
Al by myself.
a reference to the Eric Carmen hit. And I could come on and play Al, not even tell him. You just find out sort of accidentally when he's up here. I mean, completely, lovely.
Well, when you say not even tell him, I think your shared management company might have something
Yeah,
to
if
say
he
about
walks through
it.
the
But I
office
don't
and sees a
think he
poster
could-
with
I
your
don't-
face on it.
I don't think he could legally stop me when he says it.
No.
When he says like the pub landlord outfit on a poster, but my face, I'd have to have my head shaved.
Yeah.
You got it.
Frank, anything that results in
In
you
for a
saying
penny.
to a colleague, I don't think you can legally stop me, doesn't sound like a good
Yeah.
plan.
No further action.
No, but
friendship.
But I don't think you have to get like Morecambe and Wise's estate's permission to do a play about Morecambe and Wise, do you? I don't think.
Well, our management's very laid back, so
Yeah,
I
they
can't
are
imagine there'd be a
extremely
problem.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's
Doesn't
a good
have to be
idea.
Al if Al was touchy about it.
Graham Norton, you get mistaken for him every now and again.
Yeah,
don't you?
could do it. What I was thinking
Well,
about
you could
Al,
do the Stephen Tompkinson story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are they going to come and see that?
Peter Capaldi.
They're going to come and see any of it, Frank. to
Peter
be honest.
Capaldi's story, that could be great.
That'd be selling.
Yeah.
People
I like
on
that Frank
seats,
thinks
wouldn't it?
they won't come and see the Stephen Tompkinson story,
You
but they'll
gotta
come
be.
and see you doing all the others.
Paul Coyer, I always think. He's big in Scotland.
Who's Paul Coyer?
He's
Oh, there you go. The tickets are selling like
It can be
hotcakes.
that's the title right there.
Who's Paul?
Who's Paul Coyer? Yeah, I could Hale and Pace, in which I play both parts.
Oh,
No,
I
he
used
could
to
be.
love
Alan
Hale and
Cochrane
Pace.
could be one of them. Helen Pace, you too.
I don't think so.
Don't put us in a
Oh.
difficult position. Like that. That's like one of those moments when somebody in the locker room says, Martina, you could play with Sue Barker, and she's going, oh, well, actually, I promised I would speak to Chrissy about, you put me in a difficult position now. Yes. Well, I tell you what, an interesting thing as well is I did a bad thing with Al. Al toured with me on my first ever tour, and he told me a story that had happened to him, and I was on a panel show on the telly, and I told the story. I credited it to him, but even even so, it was his story. Obviously, I wouldn't have stolen it.
No, that's not your style.
I never asked his permission to use it. And
was there any comeback?
He was all right about it because he was quite new at the time, but I felt I'd slightly pulled rank, and I wasn't much. I'd only just won the Perrier, but it was. I'll run it by you briefly.
You're going to tell it again?
Yeah, because now
what's wrong with you?
Now I can't damage him. Now he's invincible.
He's a big star now.
But he did a gig in. He used to do guns and stuff on stage, impressions of guns and explosions and stuff. And there's a bit where he used to throw a lot of people into an aeroplane propeller. He did all the sound effects of that. It was brilliant. Yeah. And he did it in Germany, and he said usually this bit gets a sort of people going, oh, he said, but you Germans, you seem to be fine with me killing people. And a bloke at the back, a voice from the back went, careful. And I told that, and I thought it'd be great in the one-man show when I'm playing Al, I could also play me, when they do another person. Yeah. So I could actually go out of the Al and play me, say, in a grey wig. And wouldn't that be like
in
a real
grey wig?
Yeah, because I'll have had my head shaved to be Al. Are you not following this?
So
this
when
whole
Frank
thing
is
sounds
playing
pretty
Al,
half-baked.
Well, no, when Frank is playing Al, there'll be a point where Frank is playing Al, who's playing Frank.
Yeah.
Who's retelling a story of Al. So it's going to be complex for...
Oh, God, the fourth wall will be more
it's
like
going to be awful, is what it's going to be.
No, I think it's going to turn things around for both of us.
I think it's going to be Brechtian.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
So, this is Frank Skinner's show at Edinburgh.
You all right?
This heart is not the first.
What are you doing?
Is this that dream that you had?
No, it's all come back to me. Oh, I did. I stepped on the cockerel's toes a bit this week.
Oh, did you? What did you do?
I did just a minute.
Oh, how was that?
Which I regard as cockerel country.
Yeah. Who's
How many times have you done it, Al?
I don't know. I've done it
a lot.
Well, no,
is that Nicholas Parsons?
Yeah, it's that thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'm as Nicholas Parsons said, I was just a minute virgin.
A new player of the game. They slightly patronise you when you're new on it.
Yeah, but I was happy to be patronised. It's so hard. It's the most.
Is it hard?
Oh, God.
Is it?
It's impossible to play.
Oh, he's clever, the old cockerel.
It's all of us.
I'm rubbish at it, but they keep booking me. It's a clerical error.
I thought it was a documentary about lovemaking when I first got the offer. But that's a proper joke, isn't it? That here we go.
It is, yeah. Nicely done.
Thanks. Yeah, it was. Oh God, it's hard. It's proper.
Is it?
Have you ever listened to it?
Yeah, I've heard it. Oh, I've sampled its wares.
It's one of those things. I did it because it's nice to tick off a list of doing some BBC institutions. Mm-hmm. I've done Match of the Day, Panorama,
Top of the Pops.
I have that with relationships. It's like it's nice to be asked out on a date by Shaquille O'Neal. Everyone has to tick that off on their box.
Yes, I don't have that one, I must admit.
Okay, well, there's still
but
time.
I've got Test Match Special. That's any good to you. My dream, of course, is the shipping forecast. But, it's the email that's never come.
Oh.
They ought to have celebrity shipping forecast things.
Oh, can you imagine that? You can't have Ruby Wax doing
what's
that.
What's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, so I did it, and it was very difficult.
Who else was on it then?
Well, it was like the big guns were on. Sue Perkins, Paul Merton, Giles Brandon.
Not Sue Perkins again. You two.
I know, we were saying that.
Can't get a sheet of paper between you two.
We've been roughly thrown together by fate.
I love you as a couple, a celebrity couple.
Thank you so much. You haven't heard about me and Kelly Maloney. Kelly Maloney. It's difficult for a comic, as they were pointing out, because you want to leave gaps when you're a comic.
Yeah.
You want to leave pauses if you say something funny, but you can't leave any pauses at all.
Yeah.
Are you good at it now, Al?
No, really not. But I still quite like playing it.
It's very, very difficult indeed.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you a point. I didn't interrupt at one. I mean, in case you don't know the game, if anyone repetition, hesitation,
deviation.
or deviation, that's the thing. And
no good on this show then.
Giles Brandreth said, so I stopped off for a double espresso, and I was going to interrupt for repetition of espresso.
Oh, that's good. That's
because
funny.
it was a double espresso. And then I thought, is that the sort of thing that they'll say, that's very clever?
Yeah.
Or will they say, you are completely breaking the spirit of the game?
I don't
No,
know,
I
but I
think
like
we
the
would've said-
generic voice you've given them. That's very clever.
That is the voice of Radio 4, though.
I'm thinking
Slightly
Nicholas Parsons.
Yeah.
What a great man, Nicholas Parsons.
Amazing.
91 in October.
Handsome too.
And I believe he was in, was it The Curse of Fenric?
Was he?
Yeah. It's a Doctor Who ep.
He's got it going on
Is that
still.
right?
Yeah, I think it was. Oh, no, he's amazing.
Oh, he's gorgeous looking.
That's how I want to be.
It's lovely. I went
You
to
can get away with it on radio, you see. It's the face that puts people off on telly. But I figure I can stay on radio forever. Do you think? Well, that's my other idea for next year. I'll come to this in a minute.
to stay on radio forever.
No, to do a children's show.
What?
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So I've been to a few shows.
Oh, what
As
have
you
you
know,
been
I'm
to?
doing Cat in the Hat, I saw.
Oh, yeah, is it good?
Yeah, it's good. Boz absolutely loved it.
Oh, really good.
It was... the cat in the Cat in the Hat does sound a bit like George from Rainbow. You know, like the dog. Yeah. There's a lot of that. Dog, that was funny.
You do that well.
Yeah,
you
thanks
could
very
do
much.
that show.
Well, I think Rainbow will be back, won't it?
We could do that. Dungarees, the three of us.
Oh, that's
Can
the
you
thought,
imagine?
actually. The three of us as the characters, and then
Jane and Freddie.
Daisy as the human being.
No,
Who played the human
no, she's
being?
Zippy.
Okay, I think the human being in it. I think he ended up, if I remember
When
right.
you say there were three. There was Rod, Jane, and Freddie.
Yeah.
I know, but they didn't mingle, did they?
What do you mean?
No mingling.
They didn't mingle with the
Like
creatures.
Laurel and Hardy, they didn't see each other
No, they
after
were
they
they
finished.
were a separate entity.
Are you talking about Bungle,
No, Bungle was
the bear?
yeah. I'm on about.
He was incredibly
What
camp.
was the human being
Jeffrey.
called? Jeffrey, yeah.
Bungle would say, "Oh, Jeffrey,
He ended
I'm
up.
so sorry."
He worked on the meat counter at Sainsbury's in Richmond. I think.
Bungle did.
What,
No,
Jeffrey?
Sure, I would have
They
seen
wouldn't let-
Bungle.
They wouldn't let.
Oh, you
Bungle-
mean later
Bungle
on,
handle
after-
food?
Yeah.
They don't want velour on the.
Well,
on
you know
the
those
pork pie
beard
slices.
nets? I mean, imagine how much you would have had to have
Oh
put
God,
on.
he'd just be in a net suit.
Exactly.
Do you know a net suit? It's very.
Is that the suit
she's
that
one of
Annette
the-
wears?
She's one of the top
Ask.
fashion designers now in the
Why
country.
was Bungle so camp? There was no need for it.
Well, the
Children's
Cat in the
telly.
Hat was quite camp.
Oh, was it?
Children's telly camp. It's part of the thing.
Bungle
Yeah,
was
that's true.
ridiculous.
Well,
part
this
of
is
a
it.
shtick.
I'm thinking. I've seen. Boz absolutely loved Cat in the Hat. So I mean, that's what it's all about. Is you know how the children like it. But
Yeah.
I do keep thinking that there is a market up here for a kid show, and I'd love to. My face again is my problem. I'm thinking Grandad Frank. He could be the character. You have to justify the fact that you are
He
not.
sounds a bit unsavoury.
Would you
No.
grow whiskers? Would you go with the full beard?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that.
And what would your
Someone
shtick
that
be?
hates
I might
Sure.
let the hair and nose stuff go a bit, just so they can identify a bit the kids. Something for them to swing on.
You do a Dennis Healy.
Yeah.
So with your show, what's your shtick, Frank? You can't just call it Grandad Frank. Have you thought it through?
I'm thinking of a rocking chair that is actually moves, that I can go around Edinburgh with giving out leaflets on a rocking chair.
Like a Stanner stair lift, but for the
Like that.
outdoors.
Yeah, so I've got the marketing sorted. I just don't have the show yet.
Going right up the
How
lounge.
common that
That'd be
is as a
great.
theme, I've noticed.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 8 12 15 with those Jean Genet answers.
I think 5 Live are doing the same texting, just so you're aware.
Oh, no. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. They're doing Is Jean Genie a pun on Jean Genet? And they're running it alongside which character from Star Trek does Sam Allardyce look most like? That's this morning's. If anyone wants to text in the 5 Live without having to listen, you can just do it via. We'll tell you what they are. We'll keep you posted on the 5 Live's textings, and you can listen to us and text them.
We've had a 760 has just texted saying no, so I'm assuming that's an answer to the Bowie question.
Okay, that's good to know. Tick that off.
A whole hour has passed in this show, and we haven't mentioned Bieber Belieber.
What?
So I'm going to put that to rights.
And he's ever in the news.
Isn't he?
There's a Bieber Belieber. I mean, I have Bieber Belieber alerts on my phone now.
Do you?
Do you?
And it's been going crazy this week, Frank. Because I think things are turning a corner finally for Bieber.
He doesn't often have a quiet week, though, to be fair to Bieber.
How old is Bieber now? 20?
Is he?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Beautiful.
Well, you know, he had that race, that unfortunate, what I'm going to call that unfortunate incident with the racing car.
Oh,
the drag racing.
They thought that they were drag racing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. His lovely father was in the car at the time,
Oh,
I believe.
yes.
My age.
He's a nice dad. Mm-hmm. And he's now agreed, they let him off because he's taking anger management classes and a $50,000 fine.
Okay.
But I know with the anger management, which I think will work. You know, I wanted to do that once. I looked into it, genuinely.
Kat's been persuading me to do it for years.
Anger management?
Yeah.
No offence, but you obviously haven't done it yet.
Well, I think I do it every day. What about that?
You're not an angry type.
No, I have.
I think there's a slight bit of thoughtlessness gone into this. I mean, if you were one of the other people going to anger management classes and Justin Bieber walked in, would you or would you not lose your temper a little bit? Because Bieber, I mean, he polarises opinion, doesn't he?
I think I'd just scream.
Yeah, I mean, when he walked in, it must be people like bleeping. Like, people would be livid.
I don't know. It would be. You wouldn't be able to believe your lot, would you? I mean,
you
wouldn't believe your lot. I know one of the things they teach you anger management. Oh, yeah. One of the first things they say is, if you feel angry, they say, "How old do you feel right now?"
Oh, do they?
Well, that's the way to calm you, isn't it?
Well, I'm out of there within 5 minutes.
But you could take advantage in anger, man. I mean, I've always thought that you could write a book about self-assertiveness, and you could write on the blurb on the back, "You have to buy this book." Because the people who are looking at a self-assertiveness book wouldn't be able to. They'd think, "Oh, I better buy it." And then you'd be
that's a nice sale. Exploiting people.
Yeah, exactly. But you can help them in the book. Just want the money, that's all.
So he's got over the anger because he'll do the management course, Frank.
I didn't realise, by the way, that I read this week, he's a fellow follower of the Nazarene.
I didn't realise that.
Oh, yeah, Bieber Believer.
I didn't know
Bible
that.
Study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Holy Bible, I call it. Yeah, I didn't know that, though. That's a new one on me.
Yeah, I thought he was a non-believer.
I bet he's got a tattoo. I bet he's got one of those tattoos saying, "Only God can judge me."
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Just above his left buttock.
He tweeted, "God is good" or something, and it got retweeted something like 580,000 times.
Yeah. Do you think the Vatican is following that tweet? Because they're on the old Twitter as well now, aren't they?
God is good. I hope he paid rights for that.
I think they're at a manger management course. Goodness me. Hold it. Here it comes. Whoa, that's better.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Bieber.
Playing the greatest hits.
Yeah,
sorry, that's the fourth radio slogan. It just happens to be on the wall here.
Oh, yeah?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Can we just put Bieber on hold
to
say that we've had a text in from 163 saying, "Frank, you can join our children's show next year if you wish. Perhaps an animal circus, and you can fly on a trapeze." That's from Bambino Beats. And they leave a kiss.
Oh, no, I went to Bambino Beats this week.
Really?
What happened?
I took Boz there because we'd had we'd had a few not so good kid show experiences.
I thought you were saying you'd had a few then. I was thinking this
But,
sounds like a worrying story.
But
Bit of an interesting-
Bambino Beats was lovely. It was three ladies in what I still call Madonna microphones.
Oh,
excellent.
lovely.
Those ones that
Yeah.
come round.
Yeah.
They'll always be called that. I
Oh,
think.
they'll always be that.
Good.
And I went there. There was a few. Often I go to these groups in London. I'm the only dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's all mums. But there was a couple of dads. I was the only person in
Well,
a
that's
suit.
why you go to them.
Well, yeah.
You don't get many suits at
No.
kids things. But I'm like the American dad, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was great, and it was there was lots of props, and we did, Wiggly Woo.
Mhm.
We did Five Little Monkeys jumping on the bed. It had everything.
Was there any flying on trapezes or animal circus?
There was lots of animal-themed songs and animal puppetry, monkeys
Right.
and stuff. But Boz loved it. If you're in Edinburgh, I'd say Cat in the Hat or Bambino Beats would be a good thing for the kids. Part of our role here, I
Yeah.
suppose,
Or
is to
both,
recommend
if you're a
shows.
high earner.
I saw the
and,
Doctor Who musical this week as well. I Need a Doctor. I would also recommend that.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I did, though.
How was it?
I'll tell you what I did, though. I did that thing. I went with Gareth. Remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of a more appropriate person to go with. I can
Gareth,
see you
who
two.
used to be in the Cockerel's chair in the old days, for
Indeed.
any new readers. And, yeah, it was very, very fine. We laughed. We cried.
Did you dress up?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, I thought you dressed up, you people.
You people.
That would have been brilliant if we'd have gone.
No, but they like to dress up, don't they?
Yeah, no, it would have been good. I
If
wish
you'd
we
gone
had.
dressed up as a TARDIS and it was a really small theatre and you could have gone, it's like a TARDIS in here.
Was it an actual musical?
Yeah, it's a musical. They sing about being. Well, they have to be careful because of rights. They don't have
I
rights.
bet they do.
Oh.
But I don't want to do spoilers. But
No.
I'll tell you what, though, I did that. I didn't do it, but one of the things I've always had problems with over the years, even though it can be helpful, is someone will come and see your show and they'll say, "I really enjoyed the show. I was thinking though, one joke you could have done and you didn't do." And do you do that, Al?
I try and disengage from that sort
Do
of
people do it to you?
as it happens, you did it to me about 4 years ago.
Oh, no!
But you tiptoed towards it, and I said, "All right, well, let's hear it then." And yeah, it was fine. It's fine.
And did you use it?
It was a thing that I had already done, and just
Oh, sure
sort
it
of-
was. That's what everybody says if it's good. Oh, you had already thought of that. I just dropped it tonight. People always do that.
Dropped it for time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was running over the hour.
Exactly.
This is awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful.
I don't think it is.
But I kept thinking of things because it was about Doctor Who. I thought, oh, you could have done a joke about it. But I didn't go back and
No.
do it. You don't want to be that person.
Well, the marriage of musicals and Doctor Who worries me.
Mm.
Let's
Well,
face it, marriage isn't often a word that's mentioned with Doctor Who fans.
There you go. Again, there ought to be, the things have spread. We've got, everyone's protected now from this sort of abuse.
Yeah.
Even the Goths now. You can't ever go to the Goths.
No.
But for some reason, this is still, in inverted commas, acceptable.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
What about when Daisy, the producer, just said she'd been to the cinema at the Edinburgh Festival and you were disgusted?
Well, you do feel it's somewhere that you might go and see live entertainment if you're at the Edinburgh Festival.
2 minutes walk from my venue, might I add.
Have you
mean,
been to the Alan
literally.
show?
Probably walk past your door to go.
Can I ask
to
you a
that
question? Have you been to either Alan show or Frank show?
film. She knows which side her bread's buttered.
Yeah, exactly.
Look after Daddy Bear, or Bungle as I call him.
Yeah.
So what about Bieber?
Yeah.
He's got a fan in the shape of Rita Ora.
And actually Rita Ora, not just a similar
No, this
body
is someone in the
shape.
shape. It's a sort of a void,
homage.
strange void in
Oh.
the...
Now, if I was a gentleman, I'd find her rather hot.
Well, I know what you mean, but Rita Ora... I like Rita Ora because it sounds like a short extract from the Greek alphabet. Alpha, Beta, Rita, Ora.
Also, if that was your child, you so would have called it Kia. You couldn't have resisted
No,
it.
I'd have called her Nora.
Nor Aura.
But she... is it not true that I mean, I think she is attractive, but any woman who has really blonde hair and bright red lippy looks great.
Do you think so?
Well, if we take Julie Goodyear as the control in this experiment rather than an example of that. Julie Goodyear, maybe not, but I think, that's how you do it, isn't it? You get blonde hair and red lippy and you look great.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen
I'm
her.
looking to you for an answer. You know about these things.
I'll tell you what I don't think that's true, actually. I think it works probably up to the age of about 23.
Okay.
Right. How old is
That's not a bad innings for beauty.
No.
How old is Rita Ora?
And then I think she's rather marvellous looking, I have to say. I know what you mean. It requires a great deal of maintenance, the blonde hair and the red lippy look.
Yeah.
And the roots start coming through and it all looks a bit Coronation Street matriarch.
But I mean, it's a sort of an Andy Warhol thing, block of red, blot of white, and it's sort of very appealing.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, they'd make a beautiful
Bieber.
couple.
Well, she was asked on a show by Makita Oliver.
God.
You don't see so much of these days.
She used to go to a club in West London and take a little dog in with her. Honestly, on a lead.
Strange person for you to have gossip tidbits about.
It's just like,
Is that remarkable?
Where did you read that?
Would you take a dog to a club?
Me and the Whippet are always out on the tiles. We're having a right old time.
Ow, where did you find this?
We like really heavy techno, me and the Whippets, but I suppose different strokes for different folks.
I like Frank reading his little chat magazine or Pick Me Up. That's where he found that.
It. I actually saw it.
What, with your own eyes?
It was the last time I was in a club.
Wow.
I think it was 20 years ago.
Makita asked Rita...
Oh, I'm liking it so far.
Apparently, do you fancy him? To which Rita said, who doesn't?
Well, it's a good question. Who doesn't?
Who
He's
doesn't?
a good-looking chap.
I think maybe Sir Jonathan Miller. He probably doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you see. I think he would have made a great. I don't know if I can say this on breakfast radio.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he's.
Let's go with a voncular figure.
Yes.
Yes.
No, but he's
Good call, Al.
He's a handsome boy. No one could doubt that.
He is. She also said that she likes how he's evolved, which I thought, given that this same story mentions that he's going to Bible study, seems a bit...
Yeah. No, I think, though, I remember reading that up until the age of 12 he was an amphibian.
Right. Nice.
I remember reading that, so
Yeah.
I know what she means.
He's probably been taught that didn't happen now.
Oh, I love his descent of
that
man.
is a very stereotypical view of the followers of the Nazarene.
Yep.
She says she likes his stance as well.
I like his stance.
I think that's because of the baggy trousers, though. He has to sort of put his feet out wide, otherwise they slip down. So he's just doing like a horse stance almost.
I like being attracted to someone for their stance, though. It's a sort of curious thing Frank would say.
I know what you say.
But I met
That's what makes me giggle.
I met Sid Charisse once. Remember him?
No, who's Sid Charisse?
Sid Charisse was
the dancer.
This entire show is peppered with people I'm totally unaware of.
She was a very glamorous Hollywood musicals dancer.
Yeah, she was in American in Paris, I believe.
And I met her. Yes, she was. She was 80 when I met her.
Insured
But
her legs for £1 million.
She'd got that. Did she?
I thought that was the girl.
That was
off
Betty
Dukes of Hazzard.
Grable.
No, they all do it.
Okay. I never believe their stories.
I know.
You don't go to an insurance company and say, I want to insure this bit for... I just don't believe it. Anyway, she had a straight back like an ironing board situation. She was 80. And I can see how posture can draw someone in, regardless of any other bits.
Okay.
So what about that? That's my Bieber. Well, it's more of a Sid Charisse thought.
Also on 5 Live
this
this
is
morning.
how people of my age talk about the quarantine idols. We have to take it back to Sid Charisse. But hey, I think it worked. I think we got away with it.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You know what I haven't discussed on this show?
The National Health Service.
No.
Okay.
The theatrical technique of alienation.
Oh,
No, I'm sure I have discussed that at some point.
Yeah,
Probably.
We've tried it. We've done it a bit. Take, for example, my Jean Genet texted.
My complaints about first class. I trailed on the show
Can I
last
say
week.
for a second, I thought you had your leg up on the desk and that was your knee next to your chin. There's a large foam microphone And I thought you'd got black leggings on and that was your knee, and I thought, goodness me, she's flexible in the extreme.
I'll stop taking those mushrooms. I trailed last week. I mentioned...
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
En passant. En passant.
En passant.
You're going to mention that too?
Yeah.
That I'd been to see Jim Davidson.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, you haven't told us about this. You've kept it back.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you? A number of the readers have been in touch with me, and they're all very keen to know what it was like.
Well, we all are.
Yeah.
Well,
I've noticed, by the way, before you enter this world, that I've met a few people who've said, "Oh, I saw you the other night. It was great. I've seen you, and I've seen Jim Davidson." I seem to be on the same to-do list.
Oh dear.
you say to-do list. I think there's already a structure that exists in the mathematical world called the Venn diagram.
You're
Yeah.
in the same part of the Venn
And
diagram.
and that's not how I...
No.
You see, I think it was Robert Burns, a local man, who said, "What a gift to give us to see ourselves as others see us."
I know, I remember he said that to me, but I deleted the message. It was too long.
Yeah.
So,
I sent back "Geus?" ?
predictive text problem. So, Frank,
I thought he was trying to spell guys. It was, of course, Richard Wilson's character in Merlin.
Is that right?
Carry on anyway.
I went to see Jim Davidson. It was at the venue, is it with the Mound or the Rainy Hall, I believe, or something?
The Rainy Hall.
Yes, it's called the Rainy Hall.
Oh, lovely.
It's called No Further Action.
Yeah, let's not dwell on that
No,
too much.
we won't dwell on that.
Okay.
Does he though? Does he
Does
dwell
he get
on
any
the
further
title?
action?
Does he,
No, he's married.
Does he dwell on the title of
Yes,
the
he
show?
does. Let's not talk about that. There's an
Okay.
hour devoted to that. Some
Wow.
aspects of it quite bleak. I was a little bit... I'm
Yowza.
not going to lie, I was a little bit ashamed walking in.
Oh really?
Well, I just don't feel I'm the typical Jim Davidson demographic. So I had my laminates, so I waved them as if to say I'm with the show or I'm...
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Involved
a
in
press pass.
critic or something like
Yeah,
I have to
and I
come
kept
here,
saying,
press
I'll
pass."
wait back here, shall I? I'll wait here, John or something, to
Yeah.
make a name up.
Yeah.
There were people looking, Guardian readers, and
God, what were they doing
it
there?
felt like a picket line. They were seeing other shows, more left-wing shows.
Oh, I see. So he done in the JD
No,
arena.
They were looking at me, they were judging.
Okay. I should have worn my Union Jack shirt and gone.
That'd have gone down well.
I kept sticking my pass out. It was like I was at a crime scene.
Sorry?
Yeah, I thought I'd misheard
Oh,
that.
dear.
I was sticking my pass out. Oh, we'll get to that.
Well, if you didn't have your knee up on the... Anyway, let's get to JD. I'm excited.
Okay, so when I walk in, because I stuck my pass out so much, I got to sit with a man at the lighting desk.
Oh.
Okay.
And he said, "Do you want to come and sit up here with me?" I went, "Oh, that'd be lovely." And
Interesting offer, isn't
it was. I quite liked it. Anyway, I said where I worked. Obviously, I boasted. I said, "Yeah, I work at Frank Skinner show." He said, "Oh, Frank Skinner, yeah, he's the banjo player in the comic."
Okay.
The banjo player in the
What
comic.
a gift to give us to see ourselves. as
Okay,
others.
so let's cut to the chase, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim's not changed a great deal.
No.
I mean, the experience has mellowed him a bit, but he refers to lefties a lot.
Okay.
He says, all these lefties up here, these lefties. I tell you what, everyone in the city, they're all bonkers, these lefties.
Oh, you know
So
what
many
it is?
bonkers people.
I bet he's renting a flat and there's one of those left-handed tin openers and he's incandescent with rage about it.
Incandescent, I like.
He pointed to a lady in the audience. I won't say exactly what he said, but he alluded to the fact that he felt she had some nice attributes,
Oh.
using category C swear words.
Oh, my goodness.
He said, "Oh, better not say that. The old sexist brigade will be on my case."
Oh, I like it when people talk about brigades.
He talks a lot about brigades.
I love a brigade reference. PC Brigade.
Oh, we did that as well.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm being picketed by the Boys Brigade, who I wasn't expecting at all. They're actually an official organisation.
They are. I was in there.
Yeah, I mean, they're in uniform. It's only because I made a joke about the euphonium.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Anyway, so I'm over at the Mound with Jim Davidson.
Yeah.
As
Not
all the
somewhere
good
I ever wanted
stories
to be.
start. Yeah.
He's then saying, he's got his suit on, with a slightly boot-cut leg, I notice, on the suit.
Okay.
Oh. Tailored, probably.
He's ranting about Edinburgh. I used to do the summer season, you'd earn 500 grand. Now you've got to come up here with these weirdos.
Spoilers.
Hang on.
That's the only...
£500,000 he used to get for it. Wow,
Where did he say he did a summer season?
No, I'm not going to spoil his material.
No.
How could one? But I will say, it's your classic Jim. It's what you'd expect.
Well, that's what they want, presumably.
Yeah, but there is an hour-long period where he talks about what happened to him in his difficult year, and some of it is quite bleak.
So it's gutsy to do that.
Well, at the end, he says, look, I've got to earn a living, so this is how I'm going to wrap up the show. He doesn't end with a gag. He says, I'll be signing copies of my book downstairs in the bar.
Okay.
Oh, he's shifting merch.
So he says, thanks for your support.
A lot of people doing that this year.
Yeah,
but there's a little school table, and by the time you leave, he's already sat there. He's run down there, and he's got the pen.
We just want to miss anyone.
No.
I'm not knocking about for trying to make a living, for goodness sake.
I showed him my pass.
Really? Did he sign it? Well, it was... Anyway, it's good that that's what I like about you. You've got your broad-minded, postmodern head on up here. You've seen all sorts of crazy
I mean, the
stuff.
next day I went to see Circumcise Me.
Pun?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. How many times have I said that in my life?
I wonder, but we have been slightly neglecting the email corner, I think, because we're so excited at being in Edinburgh. We're perhaps we're not tending to it quite as much as we.
I can take a hint.
Shall we?
I can take a hint.
Email corner.
Happy now?
Yeah, I've got an email here. See if you can guess where it's come from. G'day, Emily, Alan and Emily.
Oh.
G'day, Emily, Alan and Emily. I wonder if that's a typo.
Oh, God, I was
reminds me of my childhood.
Oh, we're doing a bed,
you a
like
bed.
a musical bed. Yeah.
That was lovely.
Listening to the podcast from a couple of weeks ago, I could not help but notice that when you were thinking of what you could name as a Skinner, Frank mentioned about calling a place Gordon. Actually, Gordon already exists in Victoria.
Oh.
And we also have a Donald and a train station Dennis.
What?
We do have a Frankston, though, and a Skinner Reserve. Enjoy your day, cobbers. Rob from Melbourne, Australia. Can I just say a Skinner Reserve would be a great
Blind
name.
and mongrel.
Skinner Reserve would be a great name for your non-alcoholic wine, wouldn't it?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
for a sherry named after the old what I used to have for
Or-
breakfast cereal.
What about make it alcoholic? Put a real twist in the tail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What his name should have been was something like Frinton-on-Sea or something, so that all the places there have got people names. It's interesting he mentions Donald. Was it Donald, did he say?
He says we have a Donald.
Yeah. I did a game show recently for the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
And
Was it a pilot or a real
and
one?
it was a pilot.
It was a
And,
show where Frank went shooting grouse.
Yes. It wasn't. It was a game show, and one of the questions, they played a Take That track.
Oh, I'd have got that.
And you had
too.
to say who the lead vocalist was.
Oh, did you get it right?
Well, I didn't have a clue. As I've said to you before, I wouldn't go and see Take That if they were playing in my kitchen. However...
Can you do phone a friend on this show?
No.
Oh.
So both people thought it was Gary Barlow, both the contestants.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned out it was... Now, what can I say before we go any further?
Oh, no.
One of the contestants was a Scottish farmer who, in his spare time, he trained ducks. And he used to have a sheep... They showed footage of a sheepdog leading these ducks along a little rope ladder and going down a helter-skelter. So he spends hours training ducks. Now, the answer to the question, it was a multiple-choice thing, the answer was Howard Donald.
Oh, right.
And I said, surely you should have gone for that, because he's got two of the great famous
Yes.
duck names, Howard the Duck and Donald Duck. Got nothing.
Oh.
Nothing from the audience. And that was when I decided I was in the wrong place. I mean... I don't expect so much a laugh, but applause for cleverness.
Yeah, indeed.
There aren't enough applause for cleverness in life.
Do you think they were just worried about the duck farmers' bills?
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy with that.
I think it's perfectly
But I can't
good
help.
work.
Inside me there's a voice saying no. I think they were stupid. Nevertheless, So he's picked a scab for me. That Australian man. The Howard Donald thing is something I still wake up in the middle of the night and think about.
And what's
the chances of that ever happening? A man who trains ducks and an answer that's Howard Donald. I mean,
You'll
come
still
on.
think about that in 10 years to come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because these things, they're special. They shouldn't be wasted.
Special.
Your joke.
Some duck joke.
Yeah, like when I went out.
Special.
I went out with someone. There was. She lived in flats in Birmingham called Bath Court, and
Lovely.
they're quite rough. Well, they were then. They might be lovely now if anyone's listening from there. And I said the trouble is with Bath Court is that the residents spend rather more time in the latter than they do in the former. And she said, "Where's the latter?" And then we had to split up, obviously.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
We're still in email corner. Could I proceed with
What, in an orderly
what I'd like to
direction?
call email 2?
Yeah.
This is from Jackie. Hi all. As a loyal podcast reader and Twitter follower...
I could be for just an hour, if I could be for an hour every day, if I could be... Sorry, that was Jackie by...
That was terrible. I think I know Jackie. Hello, Jackie. I was deeply concerned when a couple of Saturdays ago I came across a shocking photo on my Twitter feed. I beg of you, Frank Allen and the Divine Miss M, why have you kidnapped Bill Nighy? What has he done to you? Please explain. Well, we should explain. I know exactly the photo to which she refers.
I didn't, but you've just showed me it, and it's a picture of Frank sat on the floor next to a dustbin with his hoodie up.
Well, actually, it's Daisy's hoodie.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
that's
very
right,
cold.
yeah,
We
you-
couldn't change the temperature in the studio that day, so Daisy very kindly loaned me a hoodie.
You say
borrowed
very
it.
kindly, it's been a sartorial disaster.
Yeah, you've
Wow.
got sort of a camouflage short on, and your hands wrapped around your knees, which look very shiny in the picture.
I
They
think
are
they look
quite
good. He's
shiny.
got good legs, in fairness
Yeah,
to
yeah,
him.
yeah.
I'm a
She's got-
Catholic. I've worn all the hair off them.
From genuflecting.
Praying. I
is
meant
that-
praying, in case anyone's...
We know what you meant.
Yeah, don't want any...
Yeah, and you do look you have got a touch of the Bill Nighy. But actually,
Yeah, I think Anne Widdecombe said I had something of the Nighy about me.
did she, famously?
Yeah. Yeah, do I look that bad? And a slight element of Dot Cotton if
Is
she
it
was in
bad?
South Park.
I don't think it's bad.
Judge for yourself.
Be-
I'm going to pass the evidence over.
Oh, yeah, I do look...
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
People love a lookalike, don't they?
Yeah.
If you consider how much of the popular media is based on looky-like.
I don't get a lot of looky-likeys. I just...
What's it all about? I mean,
Who's your looky-likey? Rodders or someone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Lurch off the Addams Family. I used to get quite a lot.
yeah.
Okay.
I love
Some
this
people-
festival.
I only get Dorian Birds of a Feather and Jackie Stallone.
But what is...
Nothing else.
What is the human urge for looky-likeys? We've all done it. It's just we don't want new people.
No.
It's not us. We don't want
It's
new
just like
people
that
in
thing
our
that
lives.
there are only 7 stories. And there's only really 6
Or it's like that
faces.
thing, it tastes a bit like chicken. That's it. People don't
Yeah.
want new stuff. They want memories of old stuff. Echoes, that's all they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want someone new. They want someone who's a bit like that kid at school who had earache all the time. That's what they want.
Yeah.
If there's any psychologists listening, this week's texting is, why is that?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, we should perhaps talk about my Edinburgh Festival run as well.
Oh, keen to hear.
See if I can get my hand on the table in snooker terms. I've had a few strange responses from audiences the last 7 nights of the show,
Why?
Candid.
including doing some jokes. And my show starts at 10:10. It's in a proper kind of
TSA.
not that many, but
Oh.
but it's a proper spit and sawdust comedy club all year round. And I was doing a bit of material about maybe 20 minutes, half an hour into the show, and a woman went, "Oh, that is cruel," out loud in front of 160 people. And I said, "Yeah, it was a joke. I did make it clear that it didn't really happen." And she said, "Well, it's tasteless." And I said, "I don't know what made you think when you were walking down the stairs of a comedy club at 10:10 at night that you were in for an hour of good taste."
No.
But
No.
good taste does not pay my mortgage at this time of the evening.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Good point.
You don't think? I mean, I think if you're entering
also,
the world
I like
of
the fact that you brought your mortgage
comic,
into it.
yeah, I can barely
I knew
stop
you would.
myself.
But that was everyone got very embarrassed. It's a sort of sense of responsibility then, isn't there?
I heard some people whispering, I think he's overreached years ago.
Yeah. If I'd have been there, you'd have heard me whispering, "What's a mortgage?"
Theatre of alienation again. Thank you for that. Frank Skinner.
Brecht actually produces this show.
I mean, I've read about the mortgages, but
Well, let's not say what I just said off air about flying.
But yeah, that's a strange response. Have you had a response quite like that in your time? I mean, you must have been called tasteless occasionally.
That has been.
Yeah, but that's by Kath.
I'm still getting lots of kids in.
No.
Yeah,
Are you?
I'm still getting.
What sort of age then?
My youngest is 3. I've had in.
Wow.
I've had 7, 8, couple of 10-year-olds, and some early teens.
And your show is pretty blue.
Well, it can. I mean, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't. At the end, it gets towards the end.
It
gets a little bit turquoise towards the end.
Yeah, it does.
I wouldn't describe it as full on
but
blue.
even if my show was Beppo the Clown Spectacular, in which I juggled
Bambino
soap
Beats.
suds, yeah, even if it was that, would I take a child that age to a show that started at 8:45 in the evening?
No,
sirree.
No.
But, you can't. You have to be careful, because one thing that people are very touchy about is if you suggest that their parenting is a bit off, so you have to just embrace it. They pay.
Yeah.
Let there be an end of it.
Another thing that happened to me was I had one of the most functional responses to a question of an audience member ever.
Oh, yeah.
There's a gentleman in who it turned out had been married for 29 years, and I said, and I'll slightly tidy the question up. I said, is it fair to say that over the years the nuptials kind of change over the years? And he replied, if it helps you to move on, then yes. Now, that's like red rag to a bull. That didn't help me move on at all.
I don't like that at all.
Everyone's thinking...
He sounds a bit pleased with himself.
No, what it was that he was Danish.
Oh.
It wasn't as, if it helps you, it was more like, if it helps you to move on, then yes.
Oh,
it was
I
like
see.
that.
It was a bit papers, please.
If I had more time, what I'd like to do is sort of audition an audience the way one would for flatmates.
Yeah.
I'd like to, meet them and see, because I think you do get people and you think, no, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do about it. We stop with that, all of us, in a way. But, again, thanks for coming.
Yeah, we love you all.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
Before we continue with Alan's Edinburgh shenanigans, we've had... Do you remember earlier,
That's
Frank?
what your show should be called.
Next year.
Definitely.
You were saying that you felt the way people always recognised other people in themselves.
Oh, it's the whole lookalike.
Yeah,
What is the
lookalike.
lure of the lookalike thing? Why do people think, it looks a bit like...
Well, Sarah Johnson has got in touch with us. Sarah says, "Morning all, I'm a psychologist."
Yes, I asked if there was any psychologists. Of course, there's always a good chance there would be.
Turns out there is one in our demographic.
Fabulous.
The brain naturally searches for familiar patterns and stores information categorically. Hence, we naturally compare new information to that known, as it cuts down on processing time.
Yes,
That makes sense.
see, it does make sense.
Good.
Thank you, Sarah. Good an H.
Thanks, Sarah.
And we've also had one from 641 answering the question about you getting on the shipping forecast. You were so excited to get on Just a Minute on Radio 4.
Yes.
And you wanted to do the shipping forecast. Frank, they do have celebrity shipping forecast. I have Alan Bennett doing one as a ringtone on my phone.
Oh, I'm going to get that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I mean,
How would that sound? You could do impressions, can't you?
Put me on the spot.
don't do Alan. You know my feelings.
German dogger bites. He's Fogarty. He swims strong.
I saw Ian McMillan on the telly the other day.
Absolutely marvellous.
Thank you so much.
I'm absolutely stunned.
The Guardian.
I saw Ian McMillan on the telly and remembered
Ian
that
McMillan.
the Barnsley poet had become your go-to voice when the accent was going to be questionable. I remember that.
Oh, it's...
Anyway,
Perhaps that's next year's show, impressions.
Oh,
that'd be good.
No one can knock you for your Bennett.
In all seriousness, I was thinking of coming up next year and doing a juggling show. Juggling and jokes.
Can I
Can you
do a
juggle?
show? Hey,
Yeah, but I could
hey,
learn better tricks.
Let's do an impression. I can do Adrian Charles. All right, Tim. It's Adrian here. You can do.
We could do
Alan
a
Bennett.
sitcom with all
Yes.
those people in it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yes, sir. We'll be coming up with that sitcom later on in the show.
Yes. Yes.
It's very good. I hope you agree.
Who's that at the door?
I don't
I think
know.
it's Ian McMillan. Hello, how are you? Have you got a bottle of milk? Milk, it's white. It's white. You can hear the milk.
Coming in and have a cup of tea.
The least popular show ever staged here. I don't know, we might get a few readers come up.
I'd love it. So anyway, back to your show.
Back to not so much my show. I think we're all culture vultures whilst we're up here. We're all looking for the recommendation.
Well, not
aren't we?
Daisy, she went to the cinema.
But other than
What did
Daisy,
she go and see? Street Dance
going to a
5?
mainstream film.
She saw
Yeah,
from Street
Dirty
Dance
Dancing.
5.
Festival.
Dirty Dancing.
But I don't know about
That's
you.
all they
but
show here.
What I think happens is that you start tuning into other people's conversations, looking out for a word of mouth recommendation, don't you? You think, oh. And I walked past somebody in the street as they were saying, and it was quite a posh sort of person's voice, and he was saying, I really, really love watching, and I thought, here we go, there's going to be a recommendation here. And honestly, he said, I really, really love watching BSL. BSL.
What is that?
I think it's British Sign Language.
Oh.
So I think he was saying, whatever the show is, if there's a sign language interpreter, I'm in.
It's a good thing to... I was talking to someone the other day, a theatrical person, who was saying to me they went to a show where the signer was just a bit too demonstrative and got in the way of the whole...
Oh, really?
I think some of them think this is my moment, this is
Yeah.
my perfect moment with
Oh,
you.
yeah, it's the big Martine McCutcheon.
Yeah, and they
Exactly.
start doing the grander gestures. You don't
I-
want to shadow. If a shadow is casting across the actor or actors on stage, that's...
My only other guess was that it was somebody who was so posh, but actually they'd originated from somewhere with a very regional accent, and to get rid of it, they'd just gone for an acronym on everything that they thought might come out, like Geordie or something. So he was going, I really, really love watching Brilliant Singing Like, and just putting in an acronym.
Oh, yeah.
You know, shall we go to KFC?
Well, if that man's listening...
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
There's one show I have to tell you about, which was slightly irregular.
Oh, yeah.
It was in Leith.
Oh,
Okay.
I've never been there before. I've never ventured there.
Right.
Kept me on my toes. The show is called You Have to Forgive Me. Basically, you're the only audience member, and it involves getting into bed with a man.
There's only one audience member deliberately. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been to a few.
Yes.
I've done Edinburgh shows, so there's only one audience member, but it wasn't the idea.
No, that's
really?
that's the conceit.
One-on-one show?
One-on-one.
Did you queue?
No.
Okay.
Well, I waited for about 20 minutes. He was running late with the person before.
Oh, it's like confession.
was.
Not the bed bit.
It was like seeing one of my specialists in Harley Street.
so what, do you lie next to him on the
I'll
bed?
tell you exactly what happens.
Oh, please do. Please do.
You-
Spoilers.
You watch an episode of Sex in the City, and I believe the episode itself is called You Have to Forgive Me.
Oh, no.
So when I was
Okay.
telling my boyfriend about this, I said, I'm going to see the show, and I do get into bed with a man, and, it's You Have to Forgive Me. And he went, it's okay, I trust you, I forgive you. I said, no, that's the show. It's
Okay.
called You Have to Forgive Me. So it's called You Have to Forgive Me. You get in, you walk in. He's, I think it's safe to say he's a friend of Oscar's, this man, which was a relief to me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He goes, hi!
Right. And so you felt safe?
I felt safe the minute he said hi. He had me at hello, as it were.
Yeah. He's also watching Sex in the City.
Yeah.
The evidence
Yeah.
is mounting.
Yeah.
He gave me some clothes to choose from. He said, you want to just strip off and put those clothes on?
He
Really?
never
But
did.
in a closed booth, was it?
No,
No.
no clothes booth. It was in a room, I see, so there was no one else looking. It was just
Just
the two
making
of
a
us.
few notes. I've
But
had an
he
idea
was-
for my show for next
But he
year.
was...
He sort of turned around slightly, maybe 20 degrees, but he could still
Okay.
see me.
Okay.
Luckily I had matching underwear. Not that he'd have
That
cared.
was lucky.
He would have cared, though.
He said, just put some of those on. When he says some of those...
I always have matching underwear.
Yes, I know. There was some old tracky bums. I put them on.
Yeah.
And there was a, how you'd probably pronounce it, Billy Joel t-shirt, tall t-shirt.
Yeah. Piano Man.
About 1983. Don't think it had been washed since then.
Okay.
dear.
Absolutely smelt everything I put on.
Wow.
dear.
Absolutely stunk.
Good on you, though, for proceeding.
When you say proceeding, we get on the bed. He goes, come sit here. And he taps the bed.
Yeah.
Puts his arm around me.
And there's no one else there at all?
Just the two of us.
How?
He starts watching. Which one do you want to watch? We start watching it. He holds my hand.
Yeah.
And by this stage, I was getting a bit worried. I'm not going to lie. We start watching it. He talks throughout it.
What?
He says, "I love this bit."
Okay.
And to be honest, that's my worst nightmare. Someone
Yeah.
talking incessantly throughout an episode of Sex
Can
and
I
the
ask, do
City.
you remember that bit in... what's the thing with James Corden in and set in Wales?
Gavin,
Gavin and
Gavin and
Stacey,
Stacey.
yeah.
The bit where
It's too late
Rob
for a
Brydon...
texting.
When Rob Brydon watches Sex in the City, the DVD, the movie, and he comes down the next day and says... those DVD extras were out of this world. It's one of my favourite moments. Was there anything that good?
Well, I'll tell you what it feels like, because we watch it together and then afterwards he gives me a big motivational speech and plays some music about how wonderful I am and how lucky a man is to have me in a relationship.
That's nice.
He's not in a relationship. I did ask him. He said, have you got
Okay.
a boyfriend? I suggested, have you? He goes, not currently.
Right.
Was he American?
Yes. And
Okay.
then, I'll tell you what it is. It's like hiring a gay best friend for an hour.
But
Okay.
he's
Well, we've all
hiring
done it,
himself
let's
out.
face
He's hiring
I had-
himself out sort of 5-6 times a day. Is he doing that, or is he just
13 times a day.
no?
Yeah.
Not
He
superstitious.
does a 13-hour day in the bedroom.
Wow,
That's a lot of telly.
it is a lot of telly. Are you worried about the
Harry
blue
Hill would have had
light?
a breakdown.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
Did I tell you?
Like that.
You have to forgive me. I had to fill out a survey when I went to this show that I saw, me and a man
Oh, it's
in
like
bed.
A&E.
Yeah.
I hate having to fill stuff in when you go somewhere.
90 minutes it took me.
Did you
Go
mean
on.
A&E?
What?
the-
90 minutes. Took me. I went in there. I said, I've done the survey. He goes, yeah, that's just in lieu of payment. So he keeps the findings. He says he keeps them private. Well, I should hope so, because some of the questions were rather, well, let's say, what are the breakup rules?
Wow.
Okay.
Are relationships the religion of the 90s, Frank?
No.
Well, you've only got 90 minutes. You can't take that
Not
long.
in our house.
And finally,
Still the Holy Roman Church.
are all men freaks?
It's... No. I don't know what the percentages are, but I wouldn't say
No.
all of them were. Let's
mean, it's
take,
not-
for example, Bieber.
It's not a very scientific questionnaire, is it?
No.
It's very opinion-based.
Well, I mean, great commitment from you, though, to go to a show that took a 90-minute questionnaire before.
And then how long was the actual event, the show?
Roughly an hour
Oh,
long.
my
And
God.
half an hour of that was watching Sex in the City. The other half hour was hand-holding. And he gave me the motivational speech, took about 15 to 18 minutes. He just sung it, it was over
I
music.
could have done with a motivational speech at various times during the festival.
Yeah, but 2.5 hour commitment's too much, isn't it?
Well, you say that, Frank, but we've had a number of people texting and emailing praising your Alan Bennett impression.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
maybe I need to incorporate that into the show. That could be what's the missing ingredient.
And 096, Looky Likey, Frank and Peter Capaldi, surely it's been seen already.
Yes, and I'll be. I'm going to a screening of Deep Breath on Thursday.
Oh,
It's very
exciting.
exciting. Very exciting. And can I say, best review of the week, when I saw Cat in the Hat, afterwards, as the crowd were leaving, Boz was saying stuff. I couldn't hear what he was saying. I said, I can't hear you. And he's going, I said, I can't hear you. So I had to get him outside in the quiet. I said, what was you saying? He said, I like Cat in the Hat. Very, very funny. I think the first time I heard him say that, and it wasn't about me. I was absolutely gutted. Nevertheless, thank you for listening. If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now, get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.